Hi, I'm James with British Customs. Today we'll be installing this Predator Pro on this 2022 Triumph Street Twin. All right, so first thing we're going to do is loosen the muffler clamp using a 10mm socket. You don't have to take it all the way off. You just need to make it loose enough to pull the muffler off. Using a 12mm socket and a wrench, you want to hold the nut in the back here. And loosen. And this bolt you need to take completely out. All right, the next thing we're going to do is remove the foot peg. There's a little ball bearing in here that helps lock it in place. You don't want to lose that. And you don't want to lose the little spring clip here that we're going to pull off now. Okay, to remove this, you just need a small screwdriver. You want to get inside that little hole there and pluck it out. So when you remove the foot peg, you just want to be careful not to lose the little ball bearing in there. I'm going to push that pin up. Keep your hand underneath there just in case that bearing falls out. And then pull it all out as one. You got your ball bearing there and there's a little spring in there, so you just don't want to lose either one of those. Next, we want to remove the foot peg mount and bushing using a 12mm wrench and a 6mm hex head. So while holding up the muffler, you want to pull out this bolt. Then we just turn the muffler a little bit to get this out of the pocket there. And then just slide back. You have to wiggle it a little bit sometimes. That's it. Okay, on the right side of the bike, it's the exact same as the other side, except you have one less point to remove from here. You get your 10mm socket and loosen up that clamp. Okay, so again, we want to remove this and not lose the clip and not lose the ball bearing. And then using our 6mm hex bit, 12mm wrench, give a little twist in and pull it off. On the Street Twin, there's a gasket inside the muffler that meets up with the head pipe right here. You only use that on a stock muffler. You don't need it on British Custom slip-ons. Okay, what we want to do now is put our rubber bushing in to the slip-on. Remove that top hat to do this. So now the top hat spacer goes in towards the motorcycle. And then the other spacer will go sandwiched between the footrest mounting bracket. You want to put the clamp on now on the bottom so you can get your tool in nice and easy. That's it. Okay, now we want to slide this on. Make sure your clamp is in position. put our spacer in here, get the bolt to hold it in place while we line up inside spacer there. Get our 6mm. Make sure your alignment pin is lined up with the hole. The nut that you removed earlier, put it on the back side. 12mm wrench. Snug it up. 24 Newton meters. Okay, your 5mm hex. Line that up nice and flush. And make it tight enough that it doesn't leak, but not so tight that you break something. Going to put in the passenger peg. Make sure your spring and ball are located where they should be. Put a little grease on the ball to hold it in place if you need to. Slide that in. Get the pin you removed earlier. Push it through. Make sure it's all working. Get the clip. Pop it on. All done. Move to the other side. Okay, I'm going to slide this on. Make sure your clamp is in position. The screw on the bottom. Get our spacer. Put it in there. Use the bolt to hold it in place while we line up the hole with the other. Make sure you have your pin in your alignment hole lined up. The nut that you removed earlier, put it on the back side. 6mm hex and 12mm wrench. Snug it up. 24 Newton meters. Get your 5mm hex. Tighten up your clamp. Make sure it's nice and flush with the end of the, again, tight enough that it doesn't leak. Not too tight that you're breaking anything. Okay, put the passenger peg on. Make sure your spring and ball are in place. A little grease will hold that in place for you. Slide them in. Your pin that you removed earlier. A little clip. Okay. The last thing we need to do before we fire this thing up is give it a good wipe down with some alcohol. Make sure we get any fingerprints, any grease off of there, because when you fire it up, it will burn into the pipe. And repeat the same thing on the other side.